What's up BJJ fans, and of course the BJJ stands for Blind Judo Journey, and this is how to improve at Judo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu quicker. First thing I always want you to do, I call this active learning, okay? That means actively taking in the content that you are being taught. What does that actually mean? It means that when we're on the mat, we're not just doing what the coach said, okay? But we're going to think about what the coach has said, how it affects other things that we've been learning in the sessions recently, and also how it interacts with other things that we do in our judo, okay? So that's one part of active learning, is understanding how the judo we are learning at the time integrates with other pieces of judo that we know. And this could be completely all the way down from like beginner, low grade, all the way up to super high level competitive black belts, okay? How does what we are doing on the mat right now interact with other bits of judo that we have been doing recently or that we do on the regular? Another piece of active learning that I find super important, and this is the thing that will make you better at judo the fastest and in the long run make you the best judoka you can be, and that is after a judo session, I want you to, as you're leaving, on the walk home, on the drive home, whatever, I want you to think, what did we learn today? If you can sum up that in like 2-3 bullet points. Okay, today we did Osotogari. We focused on lapel coming across into the chest and stepping out of a 45-degree angle. Whatever that thing that you've been doing today, I want you to bring that concisely into your head. It will consolidate that learning and mean that next week when you come back on the mat, you will have retained that to a much greater level. I can tell this when I'm coaching by when I say, right, we're gonna look at what we did last week, who goes, and who goes, okay, that means we're doing Osotogari, we step out 45-degree angle, etc., 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 okay? So it only takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes when you're walking home, whilst you're just leaving, even in the change rooms, just having a quick think, what did we do today? Another add-on to this is, in your randori, okay, try and do the thing that you did in the session, okay? Like during randori, especially when it's randori immediately after learning some technical stuff, there's no such thing as world randori champion, okay? No one's trying to absolutely smash in randori, especially if it's straight after a technical session. That is your opportunity to implement the judo you've just learned, see how it integrates with your judo, and see if it's something you like, something you don't, see if you've understood the content. Final point on active learning. When you go home, if you have done randori, even if this is a non-technical session, it's a purely randori session where you've been trying to work on the judo that you do in randori, have a think about the throws that were, the major throws that happened during that randori, or the major events, whether you got thrown. If you got thrown, why did you get thrown? From what position did you get thrown? When you threw people, was it with something that you knew how to do a lot? Was it something that you're very good at? If so, why did that work? If it was something new to you, something you've been practicing, what made it work that time that didn't make it work other times, or it didn't work other times? And often you won't know the answer to this, okay? That's completely fine, and that is where we can start talking to other judoka, asking our coaches, asking our peers, even ask your opponent, okay? If they threw you, sometimes if you've been thrown 4 times with the same throw, you can say to your opponent or your partner and say, what am I doing wrong here? Or what is allowing you to throw me like this? And especially if they've done it quite a few times, they probably know the answer. Especially if they're a higher grade, if they've thrown you with the same throw 4 times in a row, they've probably figured out what you're doing that allows them to throw you with that. So ask them and you will improve from that. And it will also mean that they will hopefully improve, because then you'll stop doing that, and then they will have a better practice as well as you've improved. Having better partners on the mat will improve your quality of judo. Another way to improve at judo, hugely, this is an off the mat thing, is engage with judo outside of judo. What does that mean? Watching YouTube videos. I know this sounds quite meta here, but engaging with content online, whether that be watching the IJF, watching any of the, Shintaro Higashi, Blind Judo Journey, for example. There's loads of other judo content out there, and just engaging with that, having judo be in the back of your mind more times throughout the week will help you retain that information that you're doing in the sessions, and it will give you more to practice as you go through judo. I will say that you can kind of overdo this, especially as a beginner. If you go and overwhelm yourself with too much judo, that can sometimes be a bit of a problem, but just enjoying judo outside of the dojo, off the mat, is a great way of making you look forward to practice, make you want to go to practice, make you want to train hard. Third way that you can improve at judo please, when you're on the mat in the dojo, use your time efficiently. So often I see people, they'll have doing an exercise, a drill or whatever, they'll do it 3 times and then they'll stand and chat. Okay, I see this hugely, especially when doing newaza. People will go away, they'll drill the technique 2 or 3 times, and then they'll just sit on the floor and chat with each other, or they'll start doing random things, or checking out random stuff they saw on the IJF circuit or on UFC or whatever. And hey, that's fun, but also it's a really inefficient way of learning. If you practice 5 different things once, none of that will go in and you will almost definitely not benefit from that time. Whereas if you do the same thing 5 times, same thing 10 times, and you do the drills that your coach has been giving you, hopefully your coach is thinking through what drills they're giving you, and they will link to other things you're doing, so your judo not just will improve based on the drill itself, but on how it compounds with other judo in your dojo, in your sessions. The final way, and in my opinion, sort of the be-all end-all, best way to improve quicker is be on the mat more, train more. Sounds really obvious, okay, but volume cures all ills. One of the reasons I've managed to get to the position I'm in so quickly is because I just trained like 4 or 5 times a week, okay? If you train, now at the end you can overtrain, and especially for some people, training too much is definitely gonna lead to injury or burnout, etc. But the difference between training once a week and training twice a week is massive. It's not just that you're training twice as much, okay? So you're not just getting, twice as many hours in. Because of the reduced distance between those sessions, reduced distance in time, you are gonna have that compounding effect where things go into you and stay into you quicker, okay? So you're not just gonna get better because you're doing more, but you're gonna get better because you're retaining more and you're compounding your knowledge and your learning on top of each other. Another brilliant way that sort of fits in with this, doing more judo, is, especially if you're a higher grade, competing more, okay? You will learn so much every time you go and compete, okay? I say one competition can be worth a whole month in the dojo because no one remembers every single time they get thrown in randori, but I will tell you right now, I remember every single time I've been thrown in competition. I've learned from it and what I've learned. I wrote a 1,000-word essay a couple years ago on a 4-second fight that I had, on everything I did wrong and everything I'd learned from that. You don't have to go that extreme, but being able to go to competitions and learning hugely improves you. Another point on the volume thing, going to different clubs, okay? Doesn't have to be regularly, but hey, if once a month or every now and then when you're able to, you go to a club that you're less familiar with, that you don't regularly train at. Maybe it's in the next city over. Yes, you have to travel a bit, but getting to new people who aren't the same people you train with all the time will expose you to different styles of judo, expose you to different techniques, even being exposed to different coaches. I see so often, people being taught the same technique in the same way every single time, okay? For me, personally, it was Juji Gatami. I got taught it the same way by the same coaches over and over again. It just never went in. I went to a different club. They explained it just a little bit differently, a different way of looking at it. Now I understand it, now it's something that I can do competitively. So even though your coaches are pretty good, I imagine, I hope, if you go and see other coaches who will be as good, better, worse, doesn't really matter, but hearing from another person how to do a technique differently is a great way of improving. Again, we get that compounding effect. Not just being taught the same thing, but being taught similar things slightly differently. It will also increase your judo intelligence, your judo IQ, make you understand judo a lot more. And as we progress through judo to more competitive areas of our careers, being able to understand the judo you're doing becomes so much more effective. When you get good, when you start being a high-level competitor, or even when you get to your black belt, you can start coaching yourself. You don't need that really heavy structure that comes with a coach. You are able to coach yourself, understand the judo, why the things work, why didn't things work, what will work in certain situations. Volume, train more, train in more places, compete more. All of these will give you an excellent way of getting faster and better at judo. Okay, so I hope that's good advice. It's got me to where I am, and hopefully it's going to keep me going further into the international scene. But if you want to follow me on that blind judo journey into international visually impaired judo, please make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. Soramade.